And now, here is your host for the Cleveland Sports Report, Nick Brolis. Well, Tribe fans, really don't know what to say at this point. The errors are absolutely killing us. And they continue to kill us today as we just got swept by the first place in the AL West, that is, Oakland Athletics. And there's no more of the whole it's early in the season thing. That's done. That's over with. As a matter of fact, I brought that to your attention on about 2 or 3 episodes ago of the Cleveland Sports Report, that at what point do you stop saying it's early in the season? With that being said, hello everybody, and good evening to you, and welcome to the Cleveland Sports Report. I am your host, Nick Brolis. My Twitter handle, because I want some feedback, guys, I really do. My Twitter handle is @mbrolis. My email is nickbrolis8404@yahoo.com. With that being the opening, I thank you for tuning in. And I watched all 3 games of the Indians series with the Oakland Athletics, and I thought, how much worse can this really get? Because the pitching hasn't been there. The hitting certainly hasn't been there. And you would think when you are playing in the big leagues that you can at least field a ground ball. Apparently you can't. Yes, I am pertaining some of this to Nick Swisher. Swisher, Santana, you guys are absolutely killing this team when it comes to offense. Swisher, some of you on defense. And I don't care how bad the team is that you're playing. I don't care how good they are. You cannot be committing this many errors at this point in the season per game. You just can't. So, I don't know what you have to do, if this means getting some more time out on the field. And, I mean, certainly we can't take away your BP because you guys stink there, too, when it comes to swinging the bat, apparently. You guys really, really, really frustrate me, and I'm sure thousands of other Indians fans. And I have the schedule with me here in the studio at all times. And we played pretty good against Tampa Bay. Toronto, we were absolutely terrible against. Well, I wouldn't say terrible. We were pretty good for the most part. But I guess it's because I was looking at the Oakland series, it got mixed up. Oakland series, we got absolutely destroyed. And to think game number 2 was the best game we had against them. So now, Detroit, who's playing right now against Boston and winning, might I add, is slowly but surely increasing their lead in the AL Central in first place. So, the Indians don't have to sweep 4 series in a row to stay in contention. All I'm asking is that you win the next 4 series. If you want to sweep some of those teams, fine. But Detroit comes into town tomorrow for a 3-game home series. Then we go off to Baltimore for 4 games starting on Thursday. And then we go to the White Sox for 3 games. I will be at one of the games in Baltimore due to being out of town. But this team has got to start winning series. That's the bottom line. And Michael Bourn, you've kind of come out of a rut, but you're not doing what I want you to do in terms of a leadoff thing. And Chisenhall has showed me, I'm pretty confident that Chisenhall has turned the corner. Brantley's doing the best job in terms of hitting out of all the guys. So, I don't know. I don't want to say that the season's already over before it began, but, you know, and not to go way off subject, but I hear some of the people talk about the attendance issues. Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. Until this team starts to get consistent with winning. And I know last year some of the people you can make the case that, well, they were consistent last year. Okay, that was last year. This year they had a year under their belt in this system with this team, being teammates, and they're not producing. And now there's talks that they possibly could be shopping Asdrubal Cabrera and maybe Justin Masterson. And depending on how far they are back from first place, which I'm assuming will be the Tigers, and then you factor in the fact that, you know, how close are they to that second wild card now that we have 2 wild cards. You wonder why these fans get so ticked off and upset and don't want to show up, and then we're either dead last or second to last in attendance. What else can you expect? And I know some people will say, well, look at the Browns, how horrible they've been since '99. Okay, well, but you got to look at the area that we're in. This is a football-dominated area. That's besides the point. The Indians went out and spent money 2 off seasons ago. I get all that. But they've got to be more consistent. And I'm sure now the fans are probably saying, well, there goes another Cy Young, candidate that we're probably going to trade away with Masterson, and Lord knows what's going to happen with Cabrera. So that's my opinion on that. Their errors are just absolutely killing me, though. On the good news, Joe Hayden signed a 5-year extension with the Cleveland Browns. $68 million, which he is now, I think he's the richest cornerback in the NFL now, because he's got a contract that's larger than Richard Sherman, who just signed an extension with the Seahawks about a month ago. And Joe Hayden's got $45 million guaranteed of that. Of course, the Johnny Manziel circus is finally officially in town as of, I think, 2 days ago with rookie minicamp going on. And he's made it perfectly clear. He does not want to be handed the starter's job, which I, for one, as a Browns fan, do not want to see him play this year except for the preseason games. I want to see Hoyer start. I want to see him go the full season healthy, because I think if he could stay healthy, I think the Browns have a shot at making the wild card. I really do. That's my opinion with that. But I think since they have Hayden locked down, and before I forget, the Browns also signed Earl Bennett and Miles Austin, the 2 wide receivers, to contracts. Miles Austin, obviously, as some of you may know, former Dallas Cowboy, and Earl Bennett with the Chicago Bears. I'm not overly thrilled about the signings, but those 2 guys are on board, and guess who's finally off board? That would be Mr. Greg Little. Thank God. We actually might not lead the league and drop passes now that we don't have Little to worry about. So, your opinions on that. Moving to the Cavaliers. If you were hoping for Kevin Ollie or Mark Jackson, who I liked, to be the new head coach of our Cleveland Cavaliers, no, not going to happen. According to reports, Kevin Ollie, while he said he was more than happy to field offers from NBA teams, said he's going to be perfectly happy if he can get a new extension, new contract worked out with the UConn Huskies. Of course, if you remember last year, they won the men's tournament in basketball. And Mark Jackson just signed a multi-year contract to return to ESPN, in which he was back with the team with Jeff Van Gundy and Matt Breen, Seth Breen, the other commentator for ESPN. And they were calling the Heat and Pacers first game of the Eastern Conference Finals, which, might I add, the Pacers won, I think it was 107-96, I think was the final score, but they lead that series 1-0. And tonight the Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs, or no, that's tomorrow night, I'm sorry. Tomorrow night, the Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs begin a best-of-7 series in the Western Conference Finals. So I'm expecting it still to be Miami and Oklahoma City in the finals. But I will say this. If the Pacers want to beat the Heat in a best-of-7, they have to win the first 2 games at home. They've got half of that done so far. So, anyways, back to the Cavs. Mark Jackson is back in the booth for ESPN, so he will not be coming to Cleveland. And a bit of Ohio State Buckeyes football news. And I was educated on this personally. Apparently Urban Meyer is interested in getting more recruits from a high school up in Detroit, Michigan called Case Technical High School. Apparently this is a very deep, enriched football talented school. And they've already signed for the 2014 recruits cornerback Damon Webb. They've offered 2015 running back Mike Weber a scholarship. 2016 defensive lineman Michael Onwenu, I think is his last name. Onwenu, that sounds a little bit better. And 2017 draft class wide receiver Donovan Peoples-Jones, a wide receiver out of Case Tech up in Detroit, Michigan. I've never even heard of the school, I'm not going to lie to you, but I found this little bit of information on Cleveland.com, and I found it very interesting that although we have such a rivalry with the Wolverines, Urban's trying to create a new pipeline, so to speak, up in the Detroit area. Now, that's the sports side of the Cleveland Sports Report. And again, I thank you for tuning in to this edition of the Cleveland Sports Report. My Twitter handle is @mbrolis. My email is nickbrolis8404@yahoo.com. This is a sports formatted show, but I had to bring in one more little subject completely off with sports. And I usually don't do this, but I felt the need to. Because those of you that know me off air, so to speak, know that I am semi-religious. I am non-denominational. I consider myself a good Christian. And I listen to the Bob Frantz Show every Sunday morning from 9 to noon on News Talk WTAM 1100. And right out of the gates, he led off with the fact that apparently it's been popular in the news that there is a group of antichrists starting, I don't know if they started, but he only brought up the fact that there is a large contingency of them in the Akron area, and they are connected with a contingency up in the Wisconsin area. So, if you do not want to hear this, please feel free to stop the show right now. But I've got to say this. Apparently they're trying to convert the believers, if you will, such as myself, to believing that there is no God. This is my position on that. You are wasting your time. I do not go around preaching my beliefs to people and telling people what not to and what to believe in. With that being said, do not go around trying to convince people that there is no God, because there are millions and millions and millions of people that do believe in God. And quite frankly, if He did not bless me with the talents that I have, I would not be here talking to you guys with an idea that I was blessed with the Cleveland Sports Report. I wouldn't be able to talk as much as you do, and I'd probably be too nervous to be in front of the camera right now talking to you. But He has blessed me with the talents that I have to be able to broadcast with you my opinions on sports, amongst many other things. So stop going around trying to convert people and just believe in what you want to believe in and let it be. Because that's such a huge problem in this world alone, is people trying to control and tell other people what to and what not to believe in. Just don't do it, because you make situations bad and people uncomfortable while trying to do that, and you make a lot of people angry. So, with that being said, again, I want to get your opinion on the Indians and their season struggles, and hopefully they come out of them. Talk about Johnny Manziel in practice and how he's going to handle the media. And before I forget, one more little thing with Manziel. I give Browns the Cleveland Browns a lot of credit, because they cut off the national media when there was many requests to cover minicamp for the Browns for the national media. And for as much as they dog the city of Cleveland and dog in general the Northeast Ohio area and say how bad it is to live here, If you've never been here and you're just going off of what you hear from other people, you're being ignorant and you're being stupid. Come to this area, see how nice it is to raise a family. You know, we don't have the best weather all year round, but you know what? Most of us love our variety when it comes to weather, and our summers are extremely beautiful here, and there ain't no better place to be in the fall than right up here in the Northeast Ohio area. So, with that being said, I want your opinion on that. Let me know who you think the Cavs should go after for a head coach. And again, I thank you very much for watching this edition of the Cleveland Sports Report, and I hope to look forward to getting you to watch this next episode, which I'm sure will have plenty more stuff on the Indians. My name is Nick Rolas. Thank you for watching.